What if I told you that 95% of people break these 7 money rules every single day? And that's exactly why they'll never build real wealth. What if I told you that 95% of people break these 7 money rules every single day? And that's exactly why they'll never build real wealth. Here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. Most people think they understand money, but they're actually following the exact blueprint that keeps them trapped in financial mediocrity forever. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which rule is the most dangerous to break, and why even smart people fall into this trap. But first, let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable if you're living paycheck to paycheck right now. Or if you're constantly stressed about money. What would your life look like if you never had to worry about finances again? Really think about that for a second today. We're diving deep into the 7 money rules that separate the wealthy from everyone else. These aren't complex investment strategies or get-rich-quick schemes. These are fundamental principles that, when followed religiously, will completely transform your financial future, and when broken, they'll keep you stuck exactly where you are right now. I'm going to walk you through each rule, show you exactly why breaking them is so devastating, and give you the specific steps to implement them starting today. Plus, I'll reveal which of these rules is secretly the most important one, and it's probably not the one you think. So let's jump right into rule number 1, because this one alone could save you thousands of dollars this year. Rule number 1, never spend more than you earn. Now, I know what you're thinking, this sounds obvious, right? But here's the shocking truth. Most people have no idea they're breaking this rule until it's too late. Let me paint you a picture. Sarah works a decent job making $4,000 a month. She thinks she's doing fine because she pays her bills on time. But every month, she spends about $4,200, just $200 over her income. That seems small, doesn't it? But here's where it gets scary. In just 1 year, Sarah is now $2,400 in debt. And that's not even counting interest. With credit card interest rates averaging 22%, that debt becomes over $3,000, all from spending just $200 extra per month. This is happening to millions of people right now, and they don't even realize it. They think that little coffee purchase, that extra dinner out, those impulse buys on Amazon don't matter, but they add up to financial disaster. The solution is actually simpler than you think, but it requires something most people refuse to do. You need to track every single penny you spend for 30 days. Not an estimate, not a rough idea, every penny. Get a small notebook or use your phone. Write down that $3 coffee, that $12 lunch, that $50 gas fill-up. Everything at the end of 30 days. You'll be shocked at where your money actually goes. Most people discover they're spending $300 to $500 more than they thought on things they can't even remember buying. But here's where it gets interesting. Once you know where your money goes, you can make conscious choices about where you want it to go instead. And that brings us to rule number 2, which is probably the most counterintuitive financial advice you'll ever hear. Rule number 2, pay yourself first. This goes against everything you've been taught about money, doesn't it? You've been told to pay your bills first, handle your responsibilities, and then save whatever's left over. But here's the problem with that approach. There's never anything left over. Think about it. When was the last time you paid all your bills, bought everything you needed, handled all your expenses, and then had a significant amount of money sitting there waiting to be saved? It doesn't happen because expenses always expand to fill the available space. But when you pay yourself first, something magical happens. You force yourself to live on less, and suddenly you discover that you can actually do it. Your brain starts finding creative ways to cut expenses because it has to. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was making $3,000 a month and always felt broke. Then he started paying himself first. Just $100 every month, transferred automatically to savings on payday. Suddenly, he had to figure out how to live on $2,900 instead of $3,000. At first, it felt impossible, but within 3 months, he didn't even notice the difference. His brain had adapted, found little efficiencies, cut small expenses he didn't even value, and after 1 year, he had over $1,200 saved for the first time in his adult life. The key is to start small, even if it's just $25 or $50 per month. The habit is more important than the amount. Your future self will thank you for starting today rather than waiting until you feel like you can afford it. But here's where most people sabotage themselves, and it leads us directly to rule number 3. Rule number 3. Avoid bad debt at all costs. Now, not all debt is created equal, and this is where people get confused. There's good debt and bad debt, and understanding the difference could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Good debt helps you build wealth or generates income. A mortgage on a house that appreciates in value. A business loan that helps you earn more money, or student loans for education that increases your earning potential. These can be smart financial moves. Bad debt, on the other hand, is debt used to buy things that lose value and don't generate income. Credit card debt for vacations, car loans for expensive vehicles you can't afford, or financing for gadgets and clothes. Here's a real example that will blow your mind. Let's say you want a new phone that costs $2,000, but you don't have the cash. So you put it on a credit card and pay the minimum payment of $50 per month. With a typical credit card interest rate of 22%, that $2,000 phone will actually cost you over $3,400 and take you over 6 years to pay off. You'll pay an extra $1,400 just for the privilege of having that phone today instead of waiting until you could afford it. Now multiply that thinking across all your purchases, the clothes you charge, the dinners you finance, the gadgets you buy on payment plans. This is why the average American household carries over $6,000 in credit card debt. But here's the thing that nobody talks about. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that can't work for you. It's a dollar that can't be invested, can't be saved, can't help you build wealth. It's gone forever. And it took your future earning potential with it. The solution is simple but not easy. If you can't afford to pay cash for something that's not essential, you can't afford it, period. This might mean waiting longer to buy things you want, but it also means keeping all your money working for you instead of working for credit card companies. And that brings us to rule number 4, which is where real wealth building begins. Rule number 4. Invest regularly. No matter how small the amount, this is where most people think they need to wait. They think they need thousands of dollars to start investing, or they need to understand complex financial instruments, or they need to wait until they're making more money. All of that is wrong, and it's costing people millions of dollars in lost opportunity. Let me show you something that will change how you think about small amounts of money. If you invest just $50 per month starting at age 25, and you earn an average return of 7% per year, by the time you're 65, you'll have over $131,000. But here's the kicker. If you wait until you're 35 to start, that same $50 per month will only grow to about $68,000. Waiting 10 years to start cost you over $63,000. The power of compound interest is real, but it requires time to work its magic. Every month you wait is a month of potential growth you'll never get back. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't know how to invest, and I'm scared of losing money. That's completely understandable, and it's exactly why most people never start. But here's the secret. You don't need to be an expert to begin building wealth through investing. Start with simple, low-cost index funds that track the overall stock market. These funds automatically diversify your money across hundreds or thousands of companies, reducing your risk while still giving you the potential for growth. Many brokerages now allow you to start investing with no minimum balance and no fees. You can literally start with $25 if that's all you have. The key is to start, and then increase the amount as your income grows. But here's what's really exciting. As you start investing regularly, you'll begin to see your money grow, and that creates a psychological shift. You start thinking like an investor instead of just a spender. You start asking yourself, Do I really need this, or could I invest this money instead? And that mindset shift leads us directly to rule number 5, which might be the most important rule for long-term financial security. Rule number 5. Create multiple streams of income. Relying on a single source of income is one of the riskiest financial decisions you can make, even if you don't realize you're making it. Think about it. If something happens to your job, your entire financial world collapses overnight. But it's not just about job security. Having multiple income streams accelerates your wealth building in ways that might surprise you. When you have money coming in from different sources, you can invest more, save more, and you have more options when opportunities arise. Now, I'm not talking about working 3 jobs and burning yourself out. I'm talking about smart, strategic ways to generate additional income that can eventually become passive or semi-passive. Let me give you some realistic examples. Maybe you have a skill that you could freelance with a few hours per week. Maybe you could sell products online, rent out a room in your house, or create digital content that generates income over time. The key is to start small and build gradually. Take Sarah, for example. She started selling handmade jewelry on weekends at local markets. It began as just a fun hobby that brought in an extra $100 per month. But over 2 years, she refined her process, built an online following, and now that side business generates over $2,000 per month in mostly passive income. Or consider David, who started a small lawn care service with just a push mower and a few neighborhood clients. He worked just 5 hours per week initially, making an extra $300 per month. Within 18 months, he had hired help and was generating over $1,500 monthly from his side business. The beautiful thing about multiple income streams is that they compound over time. As each stream grows, you have more money to invest in growing the others. Plus, if one stream has a bad month, the others can carry you through. But here's where most people sabotage their efforts to build wealth, and it's connected to a psychological trap that keeps people broke forever. Rule number 6. Never try to impress others with your money. This might be the hardest rule to follow because it goes against human nature. We want to show others that we're successful, that we're doing well, that we're worthy of respect and admiration. But here's the brutal truth. Every dollar you spend trying to impress others is a dollar that can't work for you. It's a dollar that can't be invested, can't generate passive income, can't help you build real wealth. Think about the people you know who always have the latest gadgets, the nicest cars, the most expensive clothes. Do they seem financially secure? Or do they seem like they're always stressed about money? In most cases, the people who look the richest are actually the most financially fragile. There's a term for this, fake it till you make it. But in reality, most people are just faking it forever. They're trapped in a cycle of spending money. They don't have to buy things they don't need to impress people who don't really care. Let me tell you about Jessica. She was making $60,000 a year, which is a decent income. But she was driving a $45,000 car with a $600 monthly payment, living in an apartment that cost $2,000 per month because it was in the right neighborhood, and spending hundreds of dollars monthly on clothes and accessories to maintain her image. On paper, she looked successful. In reality, she was living paycheck to paycheck with no savings, no investments, and constant stress about money. She was one emergency away from financial disaster. Compare that to Mike, who was making the same $60,000. He drove a reliable used car with no payment, lived in a modest apartment for $800 per month, and bought most of his clothes secondhand or on sale. He looked ordinary, maybe even a little boring, but Mike was saving and investing over $1,500 every month. After 5 years, he had over $100,000 in investments, no debt, and complete financial peace of mind. He had real wealth, not just the appearance of wealth. The hardest part about this rule is that it requires you to be comfortable with delayed gratification. It means choosing to look ordinary today so you can be extraordinary tomorrow. It means making decisions based on your long-term financial goals rather than short-term social pressures. But here's what's amazing. Once you stop trying to impress others with your money, you discover that the people who matter don't care what you drive or wear, and the people who do care don't matter. This brings us to our seventh and final rule, which ties everything together and gives you the roadmap to implement all of this. Rule number 7. Set clear, specific financial goals and review them regularly. Without clear goals, all the other rules are just good ideas that never get implemented. But with specific, measurable goals, these rules become a powerful system that transforms your financial life. Here's what most people do wrong. They set vague goals like save more money or get out of debt. These goals don't work because they're not specific enough to drive behavior change. Instead, you need to set goals that are specific, measurable, and time-bound. For example, save $10,000 for an emergency fund within 18 months, or pay off all credit card debt within 2 years. But here's the secret that makes this actually work. You need to break these big goals down into monthly and weekly actions. That $10,000 emergency fund becomes $555 per month, which becomes about $128 per week. Suddenly, that huge goal becomes a daily decision. Do I buy this $50 item? Or do I put that money toward my weekly savings goal? Do I eat out tonight? Or do I cook at home and invest the difference? When you have clear goals, every financial decision becomes easier because you know what you're working toward. You're not just denying yourself things for no reason. You're making strategic choices that move you closer to your goals. Let me give you a framework that actually works. Write down 3 financial goals. 1 short-term goal for this year, 1 medium-term goal for the next 3 to 5 years, and 1 long-term goal for 10 years or more. For each goal, calculate exactly how much you need to save or invest each month to reach it. Then, set up automatic transfers so the money moves toward your goals before you have a chance to spend it elsewhere. Review your progress monthly. Celebrate when you hit milestones. Adjust your goals if your situation changes. The key is to stay engaged with your financial future instead of just hoping things will work out now. Here's the answer to that question I asked at the beginning. Which of these 7 rules is the most dangerous to break? It's rule number 6, trying to impress others with your money. Here's why this rule is so devastating. When you break the other rules, you hurt your own financial future. But when you break rule number 6, you create a psychological trap that makes it almost impossible to follow any of the other rules. When you're focused on impressing others, you can't pay yourself first because that money needs to go toward maintaining your image. You can't avoid bad debt because you need to finance the lifestyle you're trying to project. You can't invest regularly because every dollar is already spoken for in your quest to look successful. This rule doesn't just cost you money. It costs you the ability to build real wealth because it puts you in a mindset where short-term appearance matters more than long-term security. But here's the incredible thing that happens when you start following all 7 rules together. They create a positive feedback loop that accelerates your progress beyond what you thought was possible. When you stop spending more than you earn, you have money to pay yourself first. When you pay yourself first, you're forced to avoid bad debt. When you avoid bad debt, you have money to invest regularly. When you invest regularly, you start thinking about additional income streams. When you stop trying to impress others, you have more money for everything else. And when you have clear goals, all of these behaviors become automatic. Most people think building wealth is complicated, but it's actually simple. It's just not easy, because it requires you to do things that feel uncomfortable at first. It requires you to live differently than most people around you. But here's what I can promise you. If you commit to following these 7 rules for the next 12 months, your financial situation will be completely different. Not just the numbers in your bank account, but your entire relationship with money will transform. You'll stop feeling anxious about unexpected expenses because you'll have an emergency fund. You'll stop feeling trapped by your job because you'll have multiple income streams and growing investments. You'll stop feeling behind because you'll be making progress toward clear goals every single month. The question isn't whether these rules work. The question is whether you're willing to commit to following them even when it feels difficult, even when it means making different choices than the people around you. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Every day you wait to start is a day of potential progress you'll never get back. Every month you delay is money that won't have time to compound and grow. So here's what I want you to do right now. Pick one rule, just one, and implement it today. If you're not tracking your expenses, start tracking them. If you're not paying yourself first, set up an automatic transfer for next payday. If you have credit card debt, stop using the cards and make a plan to pay them off. Don't try to implement all 7 rules at once. That's a recipe for overwhelm and failure. Pick one, master it over the next 30 days. Then add the next one. Remember, building wealth isn't about making perfect decisions. It's about making better decisions consistently over time. Every small improvement compounds, and in just a few years, you'll look back amazed at how far you've come. Which of these 7 rules hit you the hardest? Drop a comment below and let me know which one you're going to implement first. And if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe because next week I'm revealing the 3 biggest money mistakes that even financially savvy people make and how to avoid them completely.